Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Liftoff. Today, I'm joined by Alexandra Veatch. She is the CEO of Letterpress Communications, and she's here today to talk about growth in rural Virginia. Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, thanks for having me. So I'll start with a little bit about what Letterpress is. So we are a full-service communications company that works in primarily rural spaces. So the majority of our clients are in central and southern and southwest Virginia. We are founded out of Farmville, Virginia. We still have an office there, and we now have an office in Marion, Virginia at the Henderson School for Appalachian Arts. We're a team of 10 full-time employees and have a really strong group of creative contractors and small businesses that we work with. We really believe in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. But we do something we call community-powered marketing. So our goal is to work with businesses and organizations to make sure they are leveraging the power of their internal team and their external community before ever paying for advertising. My background is in community and economic development, community revitalization. I've worked for a few Southwest Virginia municipalities. I've worked for a private liberal arts college in Southwest Virginia. I've worked in our mental health system at a community service board. I even took a fun little detour into our state park system as assistant park manager at Hungry Mother State Park. So it's my background is really varied, and it has all come together in the work that we do at Letterpress. So it's exciting to get to be actually using my college degree for the first time and using everything that I have learned over the years.
That is exciting. What is your college degree in?
So I actually studied mass communications, public policy and community service, and religion at Emory and Henry.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Yeah,
That's fun.
an interesting mix there, but it's all coming together.
It is. It is. I want to shout out Rhonda Gentry for connecting us. I really appreciate the connection.
Yes.
One of the things she mentioned when we did get connected is that you consult with local tourism groups or local, I guess, economies, local counties on how they can grow their economy and how to deal with some of the pushback that comes through that process. Because rural likes to stay rural. It's a hard word to say, but rural likes to stay rural. So how do you help these counties guide those conversations? What does that process look like?
Yes. So I am so excited that the localities that we work with are really doing a great job of balancing progress and preservation. So we have a lot of those conversations with people is how do you, first off, like the foundation of a solid community, of a solid brand is knowing who you are, what you say, and how you say it. So it is really working with folks to understand what are the unique things about their community, and especially in tourism. The majority of our tourism clients are using tourism as economic development. A former boss of mine, Ken Heath, who's the director of economic development, community and economic development for the town of Marion, he always says that tourism is economic development's first date. So how do we get people to come and visit and see all the great things? And the thing that we've seen in the last 10 years of tourism, but especially since COVID, is that visitors want authentic experiences. Yeah. And if you understand what is authentic and unique and historic in your community, then you're going to know what to preserve and you're going to know where the progress can come from. So it's balancing that and helping the citizens of that community to see the future that is bright, but is still preserving what is great about their community. So that's a lot of the conversations that we have is all of that kind of gets wrapped up into foundational brand work, but it means so much more when it comes to economic development because it means you're going to have a stable growth pattern because of that progress and preservation.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's really well said. I like the historic piece of it and just highlighting that. I see that a lot, especially for Farmville. Very historic place. I mean, it's a beautiful town. If anyone watching hasn't been, they should definitely go. But you guys do a great job highlighting just Farmville and driving the experience up there because it is a little trip away from Richmond, so it's nice to get up there and spend some time up there when you do.
It is. A little plug for our hometown. We're an hour or so from Richmond, and Greenfront Furniture has been a big part of the the preservation of downtown. So they're in multiple historic buildings downtown, and they have preserved those buildings. And so that, it just in and of itself, preserving the landscape of a main street is important to this progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have, how many buildings is it down there?
It's 13.
13.
Yeah.
There's
There's a field guide you can pick up. I mean, literally, you can pick up a field guide, just like you were going out into the mountains of Southwest Virginia and trying to hike on the Appalachian Trail. You can pick up a guide to exploring all the buildings of Greenfront.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a lot of square feet of furniture.
It is.
For sure. So I guess the question is I live out in Powhatan, it's a rural county. I love it. I grew up in Charles City, another rural county.
Yep.
So I've always been rural my whole life. And I think one of the questions that rural living has made me want to ask is where does it stop? Like as far as, the growth in the county, where are we going to grow so much that we originally lose our character, or how can we continue to grow and not be overrun by tourism? That's a hard question.
It is a hard question. And I think it goes back to that progress and preservation. It also goes back to leadership in the locality. So it is so important to have the right leaders who can see the vision and can future think. I mean, economic development, you have to think 20, 30, 50 years out and try to imagine what life is going to look like in a rural community, and choosing your leaders well and making sure there's a legacy plan. We do a lot of talk around that. And for Letterpress, we just a little over a year ago transitioned me to CEO from our founder Ilza Lerser. And her and I have just had a ton of conversation about how people need to legacy plan. And so it's not just businesses. I mean, small business owners. Yeah. You need to be able to preserve those mom and pop restaurants in your town and help them have a plan for what they're going to do when it's time to retire. All the way to your highest level of leadership in the with your town manager or your county manager. Like, what is that going to look like, and how are you setting things up well, setting up processes and sharing knowledge and information? How are you storytelling into your next generation of leadership? And I think that's how it goes well, and it should never stop. I mean, the progress it should always continue, but it needs to be handled delicately and with reverence for the stories and the things that are unique about a community.
Absolutely. And part of the legacy is, I guess, passing on to a younger generation. And with that, do you see more younger individuals moving into rural counties, or are they moving more into the city? Have you seen trends that you can speak to?
It's interesting. I need to look. I should have looked up the Weldon Cooper Center's most recent data, and I sat in on an interesting session about that at the Governor's Summit for Rural Prosperity, which was just up the road in Hanover back in October. So don't quote me on the data, but the Weldon Cooper Center is where you want to look for this kind of information. But yes, there is a trend that people are moving into rural areas. It's not necessarily the youngest generation at the moment. It is people who are looking for a higher quality of life, but that factors into all the different generations. The biggest issue we have in our rural communities, especially in Virginia at the moment, is housing. So housing is a huge need. As we have seen growth in our communities, the housing stock just hasn't changed.
Right.
So we need to have more affordable houses, more single-family homes. I mean, that's the hard part, is there's just not the level of housing that we need. And we've got communities that are attacking this in different ways. But it is something that our rural communities really need to be paying attention to. And then we've always had issues around transportation and childcare. Those are being looked at in innovative ways as well. We've got to have places for people to live.
Yeah. I think that's another area where rural struggles is, just, again, speaking from Powhatan experience, is they only want to let the land get so small, like the lots get but so small because they want to keep that country feel to it. Yeah. You don't want to be able to see your neighbors. So how can you bring more people in and fit them in the same amount of space? Like, you're bringing more in, but you aren't adding any space. So that's a tricky balance.
Yeah. the town of Marion is attacking that in an interesting way. So Smith County Tourism is one of the organizations that we work with, and so kind of de facto we get to work with the town of Marion. But they have a program where they are looking at, they call it BOD, it's blighted, abandoned, underutilized, and derelict. They're looking at properties in town that could be renovated or completely torn down, and almost like you would in a commercial property, white boxing the property so a new home
Right.
can be built on top of it. So it's also utilizing the spaces that are underutilized
Right.
without having to have that sprawl that we were just
Sure.
alluding to.
Taking some of the dilapidated
Yeah.
places and just rebuilding them.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some innovative ways to look at it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So sorry, backing up a little bit, what made you want to get into this role and take on this role of CEO of Letterpress? Because it's exciting what you're doing. Is you're helping people grow their little local economies, and it's a very, very niche job, but it's a very exciting job.
It is, and it's the thing I love the most about it is that it's so varied. So the majority of our clients are rural. We have a wide mix of private versus public. So we work with localities, but we also work with nonprofits. We do work supporting entrepreneurship through some of our localities. We for 2 years now, have done an innovative kind of marketing boot camp with the city of Danville. So we've taken the community business launch model from Virginia Main Street and turned it into a marketing boot camp. And so it's 6 weeks. You have to attend all of them. There's a carrot at the end of them. I won't spoil what we're going to do for next year, but the last 2 years, those entrepreneurs have gotten reimbursed for Canva Pro for a year, and they have gotten one-on-one consulting with us if they have completed everything. So it's fun that we get to do all these things in a different way. But coming to work at Letterpress was important to me because I've really been able to use all of my knowledge. And I was so impressed with what Ilsa built in our culture. We have an amazing culture. I always tell people we are kind of reluctant capitalists. We call ourselves more of a social enterprise, or basically a B Corp. We'll just never be big enough to have a full-time accountant to do all that B Corp paperwork. But I inherited a triple bottom line. So we know we need to make money. We're a business. But we want to make money to be a good rural employer. The majority of our team lives in rural communities. And then on top of that, we want to give back to our communities. So we have a legacy of donating implementation hours for projects. We are set to have donated probably $45,000 in cash and sponsorships into our communities at the end of this year. So that's important too, and I think that's what attracted me to Letterpress is that we are doing communications work, but we're doing it in a stable and sustainable way and helping to leave people in a better place. We've kind of joked it's like leave no trace marketing. So if you're a hiker, you want to leave something the same or better than how you found it. So we do a lot of work that is foundational. We do a lot of work that is teaching people to fish. So in almost all of our services, we can do coaching and upskilling for a team or for a team of one. So if somebody says, I want to learn how to do Google Ads, we will figure it out. We'll help them learn Google Ads. It's leaving people in a better place. We have a lot of people who are on grant dollars as well. So we don't want that project that just gets put in a binder and sits on the shelf and never gets picked back up again. We want stable processes that can be carried forward with or without us.
Sounds like you guys work with quite a different, various sizes of clients. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So I kind of put them into three categories. So we have some clients who do not have a marketing person, and we are their marketing person. So we're augmenting the capacity of their team by serving in a marketing coordinator kind of role. So I had a client that back when I first started with Letterpress that I was their AE, and their executive director would forward me an email, hey, these people need our logo, see what else they can help with. So literally like I was sitting in the office with him, helping move things forward. Then we have some clients that are teams of one. Maybe they have a board, but they are like the sole person running their organization and moving everything forward. And so we, again, augment capacity by serving as kind of a marketing coordinator, as a thought partner. We usually approach those clients with what is the best and highest use of your time, and then let us do everything else. Or let us do the things that take up too much brain space that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
We'll do the things that you don't want to do. We'll do the social media management. We'll go in there and respond to comments and make sure everything is correct. And then we work with teams that maybe two or three people, but they still need some higher level support. Maybe it's videography or photography, graphic design, or they maybe have a younger team that needs some coaching and upskilling. Yeah. So we work in that too. And again, the same approach is what is the best and highest use of your team's time, and how can we support them?
Absolutely. How do we get you guys into more of Virginia? Because right now you're in southern Virginia, Southwest Virginia.
Yeah.
Have you guys looked at like the Williamsburg market area?
Yeah, I had some great conversations at the Virginia Tourism Summit just a couple of weeks ago, and have a meeting on the books with somebody with Virginia's River Realm. So I'm excited to talk about the Eastern Shore and see how we can be supporting that area, because once you get out of Williamsburg and Virginia Beach, the Eastern Shore is just as rural as the mountains and lakes of Southern and Southwest.
When you cross the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, it is both my parents are from the Eastern Shore, so we go over there frequently for either Christmas or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's, if the world ended, it would take 2 years to reach the Eastern Shore. It's just so behind.
Yeah.
And they do need some economic development. It's a lovely place, very beautiful place, but they need economy developed over there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of farmers right now, which is great. We all need food, but,
we do.
We need some businesses as well.
Yep.
What are your goals with Letterpress over the next 5-10 years?
Stable and sustainable growth. We want to continue to serve. We've got 2 team members now in Northeast Tennessee. So our team represents Northeast Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and then Farmville and that region of Southern Virginia. We've been doing a lot of work in Danville, South Boston, Halifax County, Martinsville, and Henry County. So I see some growth for us there, and then continued growth, especially in Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Going back to the working with smaller businesses, and I think you used the word innovate, which might have triggered this thought. Have you worked with Startup Virginia, Lighthouse Labs, any of those incubators? I think Danville has one. I know I work closely with some of the ones here in Richmond, but I don't work with any of the ones out in the more rural counties. So I don't know if they have them.
Yeah, we do. So Southern Virginia is served by the RISE Collaborative, which is it was a project partially funded by Go Virginia Region 3. So we do some work we're doing actually some work in Region 3 and Region 6 at the moment, which is the Fredericksburg area.
Okay, I was about to ask, what are those regions?
Yep. So RISE Collaborative is an entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have some workshops going on with them. There will be virtual workshops in January and February. So we're kind of taking that same boot camp model that we developed with the city of Danville's team and supporting other localities in Southern Virginia with that. We continued support with the city of Danville. Their economic development office is creating a strong ecosystem in partnership with the chamber. And we're currently a private partner in a program through Georgia Tech called Partnership and Innovation, and we're going through a boot camp. So we're sitting in classes as a team, and then we'll be pitching for some funding in the new year for a small project, and then at the end of it next September we'll pitch for funding for a bigger project that's going to lead to some innovative physical spaces, so incubation kind of spaces, and bringing everything they're doing together into a cohesive package where you can see it's a entrepreneur landing page where it's linking out to all of the different services through the SBDC and through the chamber, through RISE, bringing all those together in one place. We've done some work with Longwood SBDC. In fact, we're an SBDC client, so what is SBDC? Thank you. Economic development is so full of acronyms.
Yeah, there's a lot
it's terrible. Small Business Development Center.
Okay.
So we have a statewide Small Business Development Center. They're the umbrella organization housed out of George Mason. And then there are different regions that are served by an SBDC. And so the majority of Southern Virginia is served by the Longwood SBDC through Longwood University.
Okay.
Ilsa was a reporter for the Farmville Herald and realized that rural Virginia was having a hard time telling their story, because we fall into that, right? That there's nothing good here. Why would anybody want to come here and visit? Why would anybody want to live here if you didn't already live here? So she wanted people to tell their story and what was great. So she took an SBDC class. Then SBDC became a client of ours, and now we are SBDC consultants as well. Wow. So we do some small business development consulting, and we still have a small business development consultant. So shout out to Michael Duncan, who has been with us from the beginning. So we do some work with SBDC, with Longwood SBDC, and they just started the Seed Innovation Hub. That's a little more of a makerspace, but has that same kind of.
What do you mean by makerspace?
So they have CNC routers, and I don't know if CNC routers is the right one, but like it's you actually like creating
like
things.
inventors and tinkerers.
Yeah, laser cutting and those sorts of things. So working through how to bring products to life. But they've got some great meeting space and have ways of working with entrepreneurs in the community. We had an office for a while at the Stanton Innovation Hub. We still support them with some workshops and things like that. So it's exciting to get to be part of these ecosystems that are happening.
Yeah, that I think a reaction to hearing all this is who knew, because I think it's, I live kind of on the outskirts of Richmond, Powhatan area, but like you just don't know that all this is out there. And again, growing up rural, you don't know the resources you have. So I think what you're doing, spreading the word and getting involved is very, very important and much needed. Yeah. Happy to see that it's happening. It's awesome.
Yeah, our rural, especially in Southern and Southwest, they're getting after it. They're really working hard to be innovative and to invigorate the economy.
Exactly, and you're not just. I think a lot of people think of it, they're afraid of economic growth because they think of it as bigger businesses coming into their market, but you're trying to help bring businesses up out of the current market, and just help grow those small businesses. I love it. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. It's just like, in business, or if you watch The Office, you'll have learned that it is always less expensive to keep a current client than to bring on a new one. And the same thing goes in economic development. If you can support what you already have and really build that foundation of small businesses, of manufacturers, and a solid mix of tourism and manufacturing and all the things that you need to have to bring those to your area, if you can maintain that and build that up and get the good word out about that, then you're just going to be able to grow and add on top of it. We've also seen we're seeing a shift in manufacturing, in generational leadership. So you're seeing younger generations leading large manufacturing. So Go Virginia Region 3, Southern Virginia is super strong in bringing in large site development. Southwest Virginia has been very strong in tourism as economic development. And so now there's opportunities of growth on both sides. So hopefully we're helping to bridge that and bring learnings across the mountain to either region. But this shift in generations leading manufacturers means that they're looking for a better quality of life. I've been to several different economic development things and was talking with somebody with the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and we were talking about how the storytelling is needed because these manufacturers want to know that that they have a place for their workers to live, that it's a good place that has good schools and activities and things to do, and it's a place that they're going to be excited to live, but they also want to know that there are workers there. So another group that we've worked with, which was a funding source was Go Virginia Region 3, is GoTech. So it's great opportunities in technology education. And they are really building a new generation of career tech kind of education work. So people who can go work in controlled environment agriculture, who can go and work with these large manufacturers. They're starting in the middle school with teaching students how to run, how to do MIG and TIG welding. And so when a locality can say, hey, we have GoTech in our schools, and they can bring, I heard Julie Brown, who was the former director of GoTech, talk about this. at the Governor Summit for Rural Prosperity last year. But she literally said, we will take these manufacturing leaders to a middle school classroom, and they're blown away that these students know the difference between MIG and TIG welding, but we also say, this is your future workforce. So we're not just growing and bringing people in, but we're also helping people in these localities know that there are jobs there for them to stay. So it's also keeping people in the regions as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. They need to teach more of that in schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just a tiny part of this. I mean, we're just helping people kind of toot their own horn, as I say, like getting the word out about what it is that they do. But all of that is an integral piece. So we're happy to be a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see that you guys are doing what you do. Stepping back a little bit and just talking more so on Letterpress and I guess culture, how are you leading culture at Letterpress? And I guess one of the more, pointed questions I'll ask on it is work from home is a trendy topic. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, quite a few of you guys work from home.
We all do.
Okay.
Yep.
How have you found that impacting Letterpress, and would you recommend it to other businesses?
Yeah. So COVID was a blessing for us because it helped us create really strong processes that then allowed us to stay remote. So we offer a huge level of flexibility to our team members. And we still have our offices. So just know if you want to come see us, you need to make an appointment because we're not always there. It's more of keeping our files in a certain place and having everybody can have access to our tablecloths and supplies that they need. But for us, that level of flexibility is so important to our team that we've really honored that. So we've continued to work through how to make remote work actually work for us.
And that was there before COVID or there because of COVID?
So I think there was already some remote. I came after COVID.
Okay.
Or during kind of COVID.
Right.
So there was already some remote work happening. We've never had an office space big enough for every single one of our team members. So we've always had that level of flexibility. We just codified it during COVID. So we really use a strong tech stack. So we do Asana for project management, and we use Slack.
I love Slack.
Yep. We have standing team meetings on Mondays. We do a 30-minute just check-in on video, Google Meet kind of meeting. We do the same thing on Wednesdays, but it's just a standing time on Slack that everybody knows, like something, we have a channel for it. Everything, if you have something that needs just a quick chat, it can go in there. And then we do a weekly project update every Thursday where we come together for an hour and talk about, we celebrate. We have the top of that meeting agenda is highlights, wins, and celebrations. Then we go into announcements. So I report on where we are with business development, what projects are coming down the pipeline, who is slated to take on those projects. Our COO, Lindsay, talks about anything operations that is happening. Our Director of Community Success, Jen, talks about anything that's happening with our creative contractors or things that are in our current project pipeline. And then Jess, who is our senior writer, and our marketing manager, talks about any initiatives that we have going on for ourselves. And our social media manager, Karen, there's always some update because something is always happening with social media. So her report this week, so breaking news, Instagram has really, they're moving away from hashtags. The hashtags are dying. Okay. But Instagram has now said you only can have 3. So it used to be you could have 30, and now you can have 3. So we stay up on social every week with Karen. And then we have our everybody has a spot where they put their out of offices, so we kind of keep that top of mind, and then we go into a high, medium, and priority kind of issues list and work through that as a team. But before the meeting, everybody reports on every project or retainer client that they're working on, and we're consistently like looking through and seeing how are we in the right place with our projects? Are they hitting the timeline? Is productivity where it needs to be for that project? So that's been a key of keeping us together and moving forward. And then the other is finding ways to be together in person. So we do an overnight company retreat.
I saw something like that on LinkedIn. You guys were playing whack-a-mole or something.
Yes. So we used ChatGPT to help us figure out what was a equidistant Virginia location for all of our team. and Smith Mountain Lake was it last year.
That's not a bad spot.
So we went to Smith Mountain Lake. We had a great Airbnb. We did some fun things. We met as a group. We had new team members come on this summer. So we actually treated it like onboarding, and it was like orientation. So we had several new team members, and we were able to bring them all. Several. So we 4 new team members.
Wow, that's a lot.
So we 3 full-time and 1 part-time. And so we brought everybody together, and we were able to literally do orientation. And then if you weren't leading a session, you were packing Christmas ornaments. So we have a legacy of sending ornaments from mainly clay in Farmville to our clients. And so we pack those at our company retreat.
That's pretty cool.
And then we did a mini retreat just last week. We were at the Cancer Retreat Center here in town and decorated and had our little Christmas party. And then we got snowed out a little bit, but we had a little bit of time together on Friday. But we'll continue to do those kinds of things. And we do also travel to our clients. So that has been the other process that has come out of COVID, is that now that we can meet with people in person, we are committed to our larger projects, meeting with people in person to start it off, and then leveraging technology, because it's also hard. Our rural clients are disconnected. So being able to have virtual meetings and things like that. When I worked for the town of Marion, I would spend sometimes a whole day going to a regional meeting. So you come into the office, get what you need, drive an hour and a half to a regional partnership meeting, spend 2 hours in that meeting, then have the meeting after the meeting with a handful of people, and then drive the hour and a half home, and it's 4:30 by the time you get back to the office. So virtual meetings have been huge for rural organizations to be able to stay connected better.
There is something, like you said, though, and there's just those initial meetings, setting them up with in person, and just that first in person touch is so important. That's me right now with Farmville. I'm driving up there like 2 hours every week. It's a lot of fun. Are there any books that you're going through that you would recommend to other leaders, or I guess material that you recommend to other leaders?
Yeah, so I was really lucky to get to do an executive management program at Yale this summer. It was the women's program, but we had a wonderful session with Dr. David Tate, and him and his colleagues wrote a book called Conscious Accountability. And so we're celebrating 10 years this year. So we threw our 3rd and final birthday party at the beginning of November. We've been throwing ourselves birthday parties all year.
Oh, there you go.
And realized that we have spent the last 10 years building stable processes as a business. And now I think we're moving into this phase of figuring out our culture and being able to articulate it well, because it is unique. But conscious accountability actually spoke to me, and I was like, this is what we are unintentionally doing this. So we are actually reading it as a team, and we're doing book club, so we'll have a discussion as a team to see if everybody agrees that this is a model and is a phrase that actually kind of puts words to who we are as a company. But I really recommend that. One of my favorite books, I'm a bit of a Disney adult. I hate to admit it. But even before I became a Disney adult, Be Our Guest is a really great book from the Disney Institute that talks about not just about the customer service of Disney, but the thing I love the most about it is how the customer service is delivered. And so Walt Disney and then Michael Eisner really set up rules around the 3 absolutes. There are 3 rules. I can't remember the 3 of them off the top of my head.
It's okay.
But it is like the guiding principle of a Disney employee. And so it empowers their team to make decisions in the moment without having to go and ask their supervisor. If they can make a decision based off of these 3 rules, then they're empowered to make a decision with a guest right then and there. So I've always thought that empowering people to be able to make decisions is the best way to move forward with your team.
100%. People want to talk to people who can give them answers.
Yeah. And you want people to have the power to do that on your team.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming to Richmond today and doing this interview. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank for coming down? And just, I guess, anybody you'd like to thank for where you are today?
Yeah, That is wonderful. And there's a lot of people, but I guess based on the conversation we've had, I want to thank Ilsa, our founder and our owner for what she's put together. And then Jen and Lindsay on our leadership team. I couldn't do it without them. And they're really the driving force of what is making our work and then what actually filters down to the clients that we partner with.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thanks for having me.